Hello, my name is Mike Hubbard, lead developer of entree.net. In this video, I will be giving an overview of the customer features. To begin, I'll sign in by entering my username and password assigned by the distributor. Once logged in, I'm presented with the My Account page. This area provides various information about my company and displays the status of all orders I've placed online. This information is displayed in a series of panels. The first is the Orders panel, which is always expanded and displays the status information of my online orders. Above that is the Account Settings. I can expand this by clicking anywhere on the panel heading. This allows me to make adjustments to my password, my time zone, and email address where order notifications from the entree.net system will be sent. I can save the settings by using the Update Account button at the bottom right. To collapse the panel, I simply click anywhere on the panel heading again. Moving beneath the Orders panel is the Account Overview. This displays a list of all invoices for orders I have placed with the distributor, whether they were placed online or directly with the distributor. Beneath that is the Messages panel. A feature of entree.net allows distributors to send messages to customers. If there were any messages available, they would be listed here. Any new messages would have automatically been displayed to me after logging in. Next is the Address panel. This lists the billing address and the shipping address the distributor has on file for my company. And finally, the Delivery Days. This simply lists my scheduled delivery days with the distributor. To start placing a new order, I'm going to go back to the Orders panel and click the Create New Order button. This is going to bring me to the Standard Order screen. The Standard Order is a listing of items based on my purchase history with the distributor. Anytime I order a new item, it is automatically added to my Standard Order item list. Going over this screen, in the center is the standard item listing grid used throughout entree.net. Above the grid is the search system, a guide selection feature, and along the right-hand side is the shopping cart. The column headings of the grid can be clicked on to change the sort direction, and can also be dragged around to change their position. I can choose which columns are visible by clicking on the grid configuration icon, selecting columns, checking off the columns to show, or unchecking them to hide them. Any changes made to the grid are saved and used anywhere the item listing grid is displayed in .NET. Along the bottom of the grid is the navigation toolbar. In this case, all 57 items of my standard order are being displayed. If there were more items available, I could navigate through these pages by using the Next Page and Previous Page buttons. I'm going to quickly reset my view and start going over details about the item row. The first column worth discussing is the Quantity field. This is used for entering quantities on the order. The Description field. By clicking on the item description, I can view more information about that product. The Weight field. A red asterisk next to the weight indicates that this is a catch weight item and that the weight displayed is the average weight for the item. Moving to the item below this, you'll see a red tag icon next to the price. This indicates that this item is on sale. By clicking the row to focus it, more information about the sale will be displayed. In this case, break pricing is available for this item from September 1st through December 1st, and it also lists the prices I will pay based on the quantity I order. Let me go ahead and start adding some items to my order. I'll start by focusing the first item row, entering a quantity, and pressing Enter. I could also use the up or down arrow icons to adjust the quantity. I'll go ahead and add a couple more items to my order. I'll do this by entering the quantity and pressing Enter or Tab to advance. You'll notice as I added items to my order, the cart on the right-hand side of the screen has updated. It now shows all items on my order, along with an estimated total. Now that I have items on my order, I have the option to complete or cancel the order, and there's also a button for editing comments. Clicking this will display a comment entry box below the grid. Comments can be entered when completing an order, but this allows me to maintain comments while placing the order. Now let's move on to the search system. The search is located along the top of the grid, and this has a couple of options. The default is to search on item descriptions. By clicking the drop-down arrow, I could also choose to search by class, brand, or item number directly. We'll leave it on item descriptions for now. To search for a product, I can enter my keywords into the search box. In this case, I'll enter dressings and press enter. The default search behavior of entree.net is to always filter whatever you're looking at. In this case, we're looking at our standard order, so this has searched only within our standard order. I can clear the search by clicking on the X icon located next to the keyword entry box. If I wanted to search all items, I could check the Search All Items checkbox and perform the same search. I now have a list of all items which match dressings in the system that are available for me to order. I can further refine my search by entering additional keywords. Let's try honey. The order in which I enter the search terms doesn't matter to .NET. I could just as easily enter honey dressings and get the same results. I'll clear this result and move on to talking about the guide option. One feature of entree.net allows customers to build custom order guides from a listing of items that they're allowed to order. I've gone ahead and already created another custom order guide called Friday Delivery. I'll select that from the list, and this will now load all the items on my Friday Delivery order guide. Order guides are a great way to quickly place an order from items that you frequently purchase. The next section I'm going to show you will allow you to quickly find new products to order. I'm going to move to the Catalog section by clicking on the Catalog tab located at the top of the screen. The Catalog section allows me to quickly browse and search all items available to order. The default view for the Catalog section is a listing of all item classes. Each item class is listed, along with a number next to the class name indicating how many items are in that class. I can view these items by clicking on either the class image or the class name directly. Doing so will bring me back to the same item listing grid we saw in the standard order. Let's go back to the main catalog page and discuss the other view options. Along the top of the screen is a View drop-down selection. By clicking the arrow, I have the option to view all items, the default class listing, and a final organic item tag. This relates to the entree.net item tags feature, which allows distributors to tag multiple items across classes to group them together in the product catalog. By selecting all items, I will get a grid listing of all items available to order. You can see at the bottom of the page, there's about 1,300 items here. I can move through these using the Next Page and Previous Page buttons. And going back and selecting the Organic item tag will show me all the items which have been tagged as organic by the distributor. So I'll jump back to the catalog once more and discuss a little bit more about the search system. As previously mentioned, entree.net always searches whatever you're currently looking at. Since we're looking at a listing of classes, entering a search term here will give me a result of all classes which match that term. By going into a class, whatever I search for here will only be searching within the Spices class. Now let's move on to the Quick Entry feature. I'll enter the Quick Entry section by clicking on the Quick Entry tab at the top of the screen. Quick Entry can be used when you know the item numbers for all the items you wish to order. I can simply enter the item number, press Enter, and then the quantity, and continue down my list. The search feature in this section is actually defaulted to all available items to order. So if I'm moving through my list and decide I need some Swiss cheese I don't know the product number for, I'll just search for Swiss, and this pulls up the full catalog. And we'll add this one, and we'll take 10. So that's it for Quick Entry. We move on to the last Order Entry tab, which is the Specials. The Specials section lists all items that are currently on sale. The View Specials By option at the top of the screen allows me to select from item classes to view the specials for just that class. Now that I've covered all the order entry sections, I'm going to go ahead and complete my order. I'll do this by clicking on the green Complete button located in the shopping cart on the right-hand side of the screen. The Complete Order page gives me the option to change my requested delivery date, add a comment to the order, enter a PO number, and also review and adjust my order quantities before sending it to the distributor. Along the bottom of the page, I have an option to print a PDF of this order before sending it, Complete Order, which will finalize this order and mark it to be sent to the distributor, and a Cancel Order button. I'll go ahead and just complete this order now, which will confirm that I will not be able to make any more changes to this order. I'll say yes, and my order is now on its way to the distributor. Now that I've covered placing an order, let's move on to some of the other features available in entree.net. First one I'll talk about is the customer-defined order guides. To access this section, I'll click on the Order Guides tab at the top of the screen. This section allows customers to build their own order guides from all items available for them to order. These order guides are listed in the Guide Selection dropdown in the Standard Order tab. You can see a guide I have already created called Friday Delivery, and this one has 40 items in it. I have options to edit this guide or delete the guide from here, but I'm going to go through the process of creating a new guide. I'll do that by clicking on the Create New Guide button. I can now begin adding items to my order guide. There are two ways I can do this. I can add items one at a time by clicking on the Add Item button, which will bring up a search for all products. I'm going to switch this over to Class and search for deli meats. Once I find the item I'm looking for, I simply click on it to add it to my order guide. The second method is using the Import Standard Order option. Choosing this option will copy all items from my standard order into my order guide. I can now resequence, recategorize, and add or remove items to start trimming this down. This works as a good starting point if I just want to trim down my standard order for specific days of the week. Let's move on to some of the unique columns in the order guide section. The first is the sequence field. This is used to control what order the items are listed in when the guide is loaded. Next is the category field. This is used to control the grouping. It defaults to the items class. I can create my own categories by clicking on the Add Category button and entering a category name. I'll create one called Walk-In. I can then select this category by hitting the drop-down arrow and choosing it from the list. I'm going to go ahead and just modify this guide a little bit. I'll start off by deleting a section of the guide here. I can select multiple items by clicking, holding down Shift, and then clicking Arrange, and select Remove Selected. I can remove a single item by clicking on the Remove Item icon at the beginning of the row. Put these into the walk-in category. And let's change the sequencing on these a little bit. I'll make sure that these are always first. Those below it. And if I hit the Reapply Sort, I can see these changes take effect. I now have the walk-in category at the top, which has regrouped these items, and it follows the sequence I have defined. Once I'm done making my changes to the guide, I can save the guide by clicking on the Save Guide button, which will prompt me for an order guide name. I'll just call it New Order Guide. To use this guide when placing an order, I go to the Standard Order section and can select this guide from the Guide Selection dropdown at the top right. That's an overview of creating custom order guides. Now let's move on to the next section, the Reports section. I'll access that by clicking on the Reports tab located at the top of the screen. Entree.net provides several reporting options for the customer. The invoice detail, item consumption, and invoice summary all run off of finalized invoice information sent by the distributor. Entree.net supports up to 13 months of sales history for these reports. The Order Guide Product Listing Report allows customers to print out a listing of all products, their standard order, or any of the custom order guides they have created. The Inventory Worksheet Report is similar to the Order Guide Product Listing, except it includes a custom layout that allows for including a day of the week along with an ordering quantity and an inventory on-hand number. The Open Balances Report gives a listing of all invoices along with any payment information. The Scanned Invoices Report is for distributors that are currently scanning signed invoices. This report allows customers to download copies of those signed invoices, either for a specific invoice or for a date range of invoices. Since all reports have a very similar setup and generation process, I'm only going to focus on a couple of the unique ones. For the invoice reports, let's take a look at the Item Consumption Report. This report runs on invoice detail, and in addition to the standard item information, it contains additional calculated columns, such as min and max and averaging for quantity order and unit price. All reports share a similar layout. Along the top is a Select a Report option, which allows me to quickly jump back and forth between the different reports. To the right is a Configuration option. In this case, there's a pre-configured usage by brand configuration, but you can also save your own configurations and they'll be displayed here. In the center are the general report options. We have an invoice date range we can run this one on, and a column selection field. I can add columns to the report by clicking and dragging them to the active columns section, and I can click and drag to change their position. I could also use the up or down and plus and minus buttons to do this. Beneath the column selection is the filters. This report allows for filtering on item, class, brand, lot number, and the delivery location. Below the filters is the sort, subtotal, and grouping options. Each report supports up to 2 sorting and allows for subtotaling on the primary sort. The sort directions can also be changed from ascending to descending. Along the bottom is the Save Configuration option. After making changes to my report, I can choose to save this by giving it a name and clicking Save Configuration. I can then recall this option at any point from the configuration drop-down at the top right. Along the bottom right is the Report Output Format option. By clicking the drop-down arrow, I can choose from Browser Window, which generates an HTML report and displays it in a new web browser window, a PDF document in Portrait, a PDF document in Landscape, or an Excel 97 or Excel 2007 formatted document. We'll leave this on Browser Window for now. I'll go ahead and run this report. I'm going to start by loading the Usage by Brand style. This is going to load some sort configuration options, which are sort by brand, in ascending order, and subtotal these items together, and then sort by item number in ascending direction. I'll go back up to my invoice date range, and I'll set this to run from the 1st of October through to now. Click the Run Report button at the bottom right, and here we have the report data. You can see the column headings listed along the top, and since we had it set to subtotal by brand, each brand is broken out into its own section along with individual subtotals for the section. Go ahead and close this report, and just as an example, I'll set the output format to PDF, and we'll see what that looks like. And here we have a PDF version of the report. This is much easier to print and could also be saved and filed away. So let's move on to the next report. As I mentioned, the setup is similar for all reports, and what you saw here is pretty much the same for the invoice summary and the invoice detail. I'm going to move down to the Order Guide Product Listing Report now. This report can be used to print out an entire listing of all products available to order or to print out a specific order guide, whether it's the standard order or a custom created order guide. On this report, there's no date range options, but I have an option to select my order guide. I can choose standard order, either of my custom created guides, or all available products. We'll just leave it on standard order for now. and I'll quickly run this report. This report just provides a simple item listing. I'm going to go ahead and close this report and move on to the next one. The next report I'm going to look at is the inventory worksheet. This report has a unique layout. It's an item listing that includes a day of the week, along with an on-hand column and a quantity ordered column. I'm going to go ahead and run this report for next week, starting with Monday. And I'll run it for my custom order guide I created earlier. We'll take off Saturday and Sunday, and just click the Run Report button at the bottom right. This lists the items down the left-hand side, the day of the week, my on-hand inventory, and the quantity to order. Using this report, along with the Entree.net Quick Entry feature, could allow me to prepare my orders ahead of time and spend very little time actually entering the order into the system. Go ahead and close this report. That gives a good overview of the reporting options available in Entree.net. I'm going to finish up this video by discussing this last tab, the Help tab. I'll access that by clicking on Help at the top of the screen. Here, customers can download a PDF copy of the Entree.net user guide. The user guide contains full documentation and tips for using the Entree.net system to place an order. This guide is also customized with the distributor's information, including the URL for the Entree.net order entry site, the distributor name, and distributor logo. That concludes this video demonstrating the Entree.net customer features.